Good evening, and welcome to Between Two Fake Plants. I am honored to announce that our leadership figure of the day today is the one and only Miracle Mandela. Let's take a look at his background before we bring in our first guest.
Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in the village of Mavezo in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. In his early 20s, he quickly became an active member of the anti-apartheid movement. The apartheid was the segregation based on skin color in South Africa in the 1900s. In 1942, Mandela joined the African National Congress, and for the next 20 years, he directed a campaign of nonviolent, peaceful protest against the racist policies of the South African government. Starting in 1962, Mandela was sentenced to 27 years in prison because of what the South African government thought as political offenses. In 1993, Mandela was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts against the apartheid system and the inspiration that he led against the South African government. When he got out of jail, he then was elected the first black president in 1994 and was in office until 1999 when he stepped down. Mandela died in 2013, but will forever be remembered for the Rainbow Nation he created and the inspiration he provided to millions.
Welcome back to the special Miracle Mandela segment of our show, where we will delve into Nelson Mandela's miraculous eradication of the apartheid and unification of South Africa. Our first guest with us tonight is Mandela's apprentice himself, Mr. Francois Pienaar. Yes, thank you very much for having me on your show. It's a true honor to speak on behalf of Madiba here today. So tell me, Francois, what are some ways in which Mandela was able to inspire your team to the World Cup? Yes. I was very shocked at first when Madiba had asked to speak with me. He told me that my ragtag group of teammates, the Springbok rugby team, had to win the World Cup. My initial instinct, of course, was that we have a crazy man in office. But then when I realized that Madiba wanted us to accomplish this goal of winning the World Cup, to unify South Africa, I realized that we had to do this, no matter how much work we'd have to put in. Shortly after this, when we began to make our miracle run to the 1995 World Cup, win after win after win inspired our country to stand together in love for the team. And if I remember correctly, we even adopted the motto, one team, one country, because we realized that winning the World Cup was so much more than our own satisfaction. It was going to help unify South Africa, and Mandela knew that. If there was one thing Mandela taught me, it was to be a positive voice for a country that needed one. When he presented me with the World Cup, I'll always remember what he said to me. He said, "Thank you, Francois, for what you have done for this country." I'll never forget when the final seconds ran off that clock, and the crowd, no matter race or origin, all stood up and sang our national anthem in harmony. I had never had so much respect for anyone as I did Mandela that day. He changed the ways of a country that had only ever known of segregation, and he made it one of love and respect for all by inspiring us to accomplish one of the greatest underdog victories of all time. Well, as Mandela once said, it always seems impossible until it's done, and you guys sure did achieve the impossible. Thank you very much, Francois. Thank you. We'll be right back after a short message from our sponsor. Dirty room and you just can't take it anymore? Then call the Squeaky Clean Vacuum Team. When we're done, your floors will be spotless guaranteed. We'll even leave you our vacuums on the house. We are not responsible for any holes in the back of the vacuum or any respiratory issues that occur after using the vacuum. So call now and let us clean your floors. Welcome back to Between Two Fake Plants. Our next guest here with us today was Mandela's private secretary, Zelda Lagrange. Now, Zelda, what are some qualities that you saw in Mandela that made him such a great leader and voice for the anti-apartheid movement?
Hello, I'm so glad to be here. To start off, Madiba never shied away from self-sacrifice. He spent 27 years in prison for his cause, and in 1985, when he was offered his freedom, he refused, saying, "I will not be free until my people." Secondly, Madiba was of the most compassionate and forgiving people I've ever met. He was truly the first person I've ever worked for that always asked how his staff is doing or how their family is doing.
He truly cared about the country and people that he was serving. He was also able to forgive his greatest opponent, the apartheid government, rather than demanding their heads for what they had done to his people. Thank you, Zelda. We'll be right back with one more guest when we return. We're back with our final guest on our show today. He was Mandela's Chief of Security. Please welcome Rory Stein. Thank you so much for having me. My pleasure. Now, Rory, what made Mandela such a notable leader of his time? Well, first of all, Mr. Mandela was selfless. He always put the needs of others and his people in front of his own. He gave a voice to those already heard, but also those who weren't. No one was voiceless while Mr. Mandela was in office. Secondly, Mr. Mandela truly envisioned a rainbow nation. When he came into power, people expected him to favor blacks in his originating tribe. But this was not the case. When Mr. Mandela came into power, he unified all races and cultures, and South Africa still today is benefiting from its rich culture and diversity. Thank you very much for your time, Rory. Well, as the old saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall. And Mandela definitely seemed to know that. I hope you enjoyed our special Miracle Mandela segment of our show today, and I'll see you next time on Between Two Fake Plants.